You look at this challenge that you're going to face today this weekend against Munster, and in your kind of, you look back over your time in the club, how high does this rank as a challenge that you will face this weekend, bearing in mind the prize that awaits should you come away with a victory?
I mean, I think undoubtedly it would probably, if we were to win the game and go through to the quarter-finals, it would probably rank as our best moment, probably in the Heineken Cup so far. And that's not that we haven't won some big games, both home and away, and we have qualified for a quarter-final before. But I think the final round, when we qualified for the quarter-final last time round, in a way, I thought it was an important game. It was a big game, and the Ospreys had everything to play for on that day. The reality was it was unlikely we were going to go through. We needed a combination of things to go our way. We performed fantastically on the day and fully deserved the points we got, but that on its own wouldn't have been enough. We didn't go into that game with it all in our hands. To a degree, we go into this game with it all in our hands. Yes, we have to force that 4-point separation of either a 4-0 or a 5-1. We're very aware of that. That's winning the game's going to be tough. That makes it even tougher. But there is still that element that actually there's something tangible for us. And I think if there's that actual performance pressure on you, I think when you come through those moments, those create bigger and more, I suppose, defining games for you.
Does the fact that you had such a good win last week help or hinder you in a way? Because had you had kind of things to work on primarily, maybe you would have focused on certain things. The fact you've done so well last week, does it kind of, have you got to kind of almost keep egos in check, if you know what I mean?
No, not at all. I mean, like I say, what you've got to do is you've just got to recall moments that you have to learn from. I mean, you need to remember we went into a similar, not a similar scenario, but it went into a scenario last season against Glasgow away where a win would likely have given us the opportunity to go through, and we'd performed well the week before and we went up there and we didn't perform. Whatever it was, we started the game pretty brightly, we were dominating possession, but then we did some things that just led to some relatively simple scores for Glasgow, and they capitalised on that, and a yellow card comes in, and all of a sudden we were chasing the game. So you've got to recall those memories and recall those feelings and make sure you don't make those errors again. Have
you actively done that this week? Looked at the game, that Glasgow game from last year?
We talked about the Glasgow game and our preparation for it, but at the same time, we haven't got a group who look like they're running around like they know what the European Cup's all about. They know going over to Munster is going to be a huge challenge. Yes, they know they performed well this weekend, but they also know what they focused on during their week in prep and during the game that enabled us to play well, and they know those have got to be our focuses again.
Finally, if it doesn't happen, how frustrated will you be with those first couple of results in the first couple of fixtures? The Leinster and the Cash game away in particular. Do you look back on these sorts of things or not? Yeah, well,
you've got to look back on them. I think probably the most frustrating fixture of all is probably the Gloucester home game. The reality is the Munster game here was a tough game of rugby for both sides, and I think both sides will say that they played well, but could have done a little better. If you actually look at the conditions on the day, to get a draw on the day obviously was great for Munster, but it wasn't a bad performance by us. We went over to Castra with probably the most inexperienced back five of a scrum I've seen us pick for 3 or 4 years in a big game, just purely picking up numerous injuries in one position, and we came away with a bonus point loss. Those aren't huge frustrations for me. The Gloucester home game, for whatever reason it was just a very odd extra cheese performance, and it probably opened our eyes to what exactly we needed to do and brought a few home truths down. And then what did that result in? What you could say is a great European performance by getting 5 points away from home. To back that up, and things like that have created a situation that we've got now where we're still in with a fighting chance. This is effectively a last 16 knockout game. That's not bad when you're in Europe. If you can count yourself among the 16 top clubs in Europe, that's not bad. In any other cup competition in Europe, you'd be well pleased, and we've kind of fought our way to that. Yes, there's been some frustrations, but listen, if we'd have beaten Munster here, it would have only been a 1 or 2 point turnaround from where we are now. We still have to go over to Munster and win. There's so many other combinations where if we'd picked up a bonus point here or odd thing there, we still have to be going to Munster to win. And to get if you looked at this table, wasn't it always shaping up that this would be the pivotal game? It looks to me like that right from the start of the season, that if we did okay and Munster did okay, this was going to be the game, and that's what's happened.